Good day, everyone. Most of us know that the government worldwide are under pressure economically, socially, and politically to build a society where people will feel a sense of well-being, where optimal health, standard of living, employment, education, civil participation, peace, and order are achieved. With this, the Bachelor of Science in Hospitality Management 1-1 talk will discuss the social capital. Can social capital replace missing markets?
What is social capital? Social capital is the connection that holds together like a relationship that shares norms, values, and understanding that facilitates cooperation within or among groups. In this definition, we can think of networks as real-world links between groups or individuals associated with norms that influence community productivity and well-being. Social network can increase the productivity by reducing the cost of doing business. However, social capital also has downsides, like communicates, groups, or networks that are isolated and working at cross purposes. Now, let's define social capital. First is social capital is like other forms of capital. Social capital is a resource into which other resources can be invested with expectation of future, albeit uncertain, and returns. Through investment in building their network of external relations, both individual and collective actors can augment their social capital and thereby gain access to information, power, and identity. Second is social capital is appropriate in the sense that an actor's network of say, friendship ties, can be used for other purposes such as information or advice. Third is substitute actors can sometimes compensate for a lack of financial or human capital by superior connections. For example, social capital can improve the efficiency of economic capital by reducing transaction costs. Fourth is, social capital is like physical capital and human capital. However, unlike financial capital, social needs maintenance. For that, there are two existing reasons. First reason is, like human capital and some forms of public goods such as knowledge. And the second reason is, social capital is sometimes rendered obsolete by contextual changes. Fifth is, social capital is like clean air and safe streets. But unlike many other forms of capital, social capital is a collective good. It is not a private property of those who benefits from it. Lastly, some scholars have argued that social capital is unlike all other forms of capital in being located, not in the actors, but in their relations with other actors.
The social capital in firm's organization is a social structure that features a firm connection or relationship between individuals within the organization. With this, it helps to strengthen the connections with its employees to assist with their careers and learn to compensate in labor markets. Moreover, the origin of social capital can be traced back to Marshall's research wherein he utilized the industrial district to define various features of the nation's industrial organization and a location where people and enterprises specializing in the primary industry reside operate. Organization is a climax matter wherein works in a climax environment, but high social structure may cause a negative impact in many aspects. Firstly, having a high social capital may damage some businesses, create unthinking loyalty, and may affect founding common beliefs. Social capital in firms and organization is not always a good thing, depending on how the individuals within the firm or organization work. Therefore, the social capital in firm's organization, but in completely different amount, can be depleted or improved, wasted, or invested. Nevertheless, the social capital in firm's organization has a huge role in every business since it generates economic profits. Also, an organization cannot be function alone without the help of social capital.
Social capital has the power to influence mostly every element of human life. The basis of social capital lies with individual actors through their relationships and interactions with others. Factors that encourage social interaction and exchange, the growth of norms for these interactions, along with principles and goals that form the foundation of a society. The positive outcome may be tangible or intangible. Culture is one example, and here is a list of social capital sources: religion and religious, labor market trends, ethnic and social heterogeneity, individuals' values, scale of social organizations, history and culture, and residential mobility. Each source has a tangled web of social capital connections, whether or not those who live in high mobility zones or have close ties to other locations are influenced by residential mobility, the unwillingness to invest in building relationships with their neighbor. It's common to think of social capital as anything that encourages people to interact with one another and exchange, as well as the development of normative frameworks for those kinds of interactions, even characteristics that shape the culture, ideas, and values of a society. As a rational result, all factors influencing people's attitudes, beliefs, or behaviors towards one another should be measured sources of social capital. And anything that encourages or influences interactions satisfies the criteria for a catalyst. Individuals, communities, and society as a whole benefit from social capital. Social capital is defined as a lubricant that enables people to do tasks more swiftly and efficiently. It empowers people to collaborate while also reaping the benefits of social bonds. Modern economies rely on social capital to function successfully. Without social capital, our culture, economy, institutions, and political systems would not exist, the fundamental of social and cultural coherence of a society. As a result, the industry has branded social capital glue. It is necessary to the efficiency and even long-term viability of a group or organization. Social capital enhances people by allowing them to collaborate and innovate. Any company that ignores the values of social capital is wasting money and putting itself at danger of inefficiency and risk. It is also significant for society because it allows the formation of societal institutions and secures the country's unity. It makes it easier for multiple parties and organizations to work together. People who engage with one another more positively have a better possibility of reducing crime and corruption while also enhancing helpfulness and cooperation. In the language of our dominant paradigm, capitalism, and the concept of social capital describes social and cultural activities as beneficial, vital, and valuable. Scholars from economics to accounting and all social sciences, as well as people in politics, business, and all other organizations, can easily appreciate the significance of the word social when it is related to the phrase capital.
Social capital may have different effect depending on its motivational sources. It is clear, however, that social capital is sometimes motivated by normative commitment, such as norms of generalized reciprocity. This norm of generalized reciprocity resolves problems of collective action and binds communities. Moreover, trust and social capital are mutually reinforcing. Trust is a source of social capital in turn that produces trust. Opportunity. Network of social ties create opportunities for social capital transaction. Our ties to others give the opportunity to level our ties resources and our organization. Internal ties give us the opportunity to act together. Opportunities are connection coming from both external and internal factor of which create impact toward a job. Example, we have gained an opportunity because of the connection we have made to the company, an organization, or a specific person. Once we have this connection, we create opportunities that will help us grow and develop. Ability. It is only natural that you will receive feedback and new suggestion from various fields in your proposed design in the area where you work. If they've already declined to provide you advice or input your suggested project, you can bet they don't know much about your field. It is important as well to be able to produce an opportunity coming from a social capital. What matters the most are the experience and expertise that the employees have on a specific job. Nevertheless, progress cannot be attained.
Benefits of social capital and risk of social capital. Social capital shapes the quality and quantity of a society's interaction, making the criticism of society to be far stable and glued by the views of social capital. It is also a reliable tool to build trust and cooperation among working individuals to shape their respective organizations and businesses. Capital gave positive exchange of information, bright ideas, and future opportunities to both within and outside of the organization. Social capital has also been a great part of having an organization for building relationships between the company and the employees to the point that it leads to enhanced performance and social interactions. Usually, it gives benefit to our social political environment since it shaped the modern norms, influence, and productivity of people. Building relationships with the employees to work and achieve one common purpose through trust and cooperation. Giving advantages for every opportunity to come, knowing their purposes made them believe that they can work together and gather those opportunities for their bright futures. Most of the downsides are mostly caused by corrupted systems, communists, and so on. For decades, it clouded the main perspective of social capital due to its continuous hindering of development and productivity. They also believe that the manipulation of social capital made them slaves to the organization and working without freedom, while some believe that they are driven out by the competition between the rivals' competition. It is also brought to the point that they have a market price as a competition, which made the group of neighborhood and city to suffer. Overall, social capital has been a big part of having organizational and professional relationships between the organization and the employees. Those downsides are mostly caused by being blind to the perspective of being consumers and employees, which made the market suffer.
A missing market indicates that there are some obstructions to an efficient free market that would allow for an efficient distribution of resources. Failure to produce some goods and services despite being needed by the consumers. Markets are under certain conditions, and when there is an absence on one of these conditions, markets will struggle to exist, but for various reasons, missing market don't exist. One of the most extreme cases of a missing market is pure public goods. One example of a pure public good is street lightings. It has a special case where the demand is present, but the supply is absent. With what I previously said is the reason why entrepreneurs are unlikely to enter a market, given the impossibility of charging the consumers at the point of consumption, which results in market mechanisms to likely fail in supplying the pure public goods. Pure public good characteristics shows a factor which indicates an obstruction to an efficient free market. It is also the reason why it is included as one of the case of a missing market. First, pure public goods are non-excludable. Second, it is non-diminishable. Third, non-rejectable. Whether we like it or not, consumers are going to use it and they won't be able to resist it. For example, the street lightings again. All travelers or passerbys can benefit from its usage. No matter how they use it, it will not be lessened or diminished because these people do not need to compete with one another in order to use it. If these three characteristics are combined, it deters the potential suppliers, for it would be impossible for them to charge the consumers for its point of use. As a result, suppliers are unable to produce any revenue or profit, and so was the necessary conditions in formation, or rather in forming a market, namely the absence of incentive profit. Without a profit, its entry to the market is restricted, resulting to a missing market.
Social capital in the Philippines. In the Philippine setting, social capital has been deeply intact in their indigenous values. One of these is pakikisama, where Filipinos express their desire of a pleasant interpersonal relationship. This social capital is evidently shown in Filipino executives. Managers with lower incomes, on the other hand, have increased in recent years. With this, more opportunities have opened up for them, regardless of their social backgrounds or affiliations.
Social capital refers to institution, relationship, and norms that shape the quality and quantity of the social interaction within a society. It is not just the sum of institutions which underpin the society, but rather it is the glue that holds these elements together. Moreover, social capital also has downsides, like communities, groups, or networks that are isolated, parochial, or working at cross purposes. For instance, drug cartel, corruption racket that can hinder economic and social development. A broader understanding of social capital accounts for the both positive and negative aspects by including vertical and horizontal association between people. It also includes behavior within and among organizations such as firms. This view recognizes that horizontals are needed to give communities a sense of identity and common purpose. It also stresses that without bridging the ties that transcend various social divisions, for instance, religion, ethnicity, socioeconomic status. Horizontal ties can become a basis for the pursuit of narrow interests and preclude access to information and material resources that would otherwise be of great assistance to community. For instance, information about job vacancies and access to credit. Social capital includes social and political environment that shape social structure and enables norms to develop. This view extends the importance of social capital to the most formalized institutional relationship and structure, such as the government, the political, the rule of law, the court system, and civil and political liberties. Social capital is a resource into which other resources can be invested with the expectation of future, albeit uncertain, returns. Through investment in building their network of external relation, both individual and collective actor can augment their social capital and thereby gain access to information, power, and identity.
With this, utilizing social capital as a replacement for missing markets or market failure is a matter of balancing up. As Powell and Smilar mentioned, the ties that bind may also turn into ties that blind. Social capital has advantage and limitation. There is nothing wrong with social capital in substituting missing markets as long as it is utilized efficiently for common good and not for narrow for personal interest that breeds corruption, free-riding problems, and hinder innovation or economic development.